honestly, trying to figure out who you are in your 20s, like, you know, they always say that that's what this is about. Being in your early 20s is about figuring out who you are. But it's really actually not that hard, because all you have to do is just be who your inner child was. Because your inner child was exactly who she was authentically. Like, she didn't have the outside noise. She was just there existing. I feel like that's like the most authentic version of yourself that you ever were in life, you know? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Ami. So I saw this post recently and I feel like it really articulated exactly what I've been feeling coming into 2026. It was basically saying that your early 20s is just learning to reconnect with your younger self and learning how to love them instead of rejecting them for so long. And I just really resonated with that, because seeing that even as a post period, knowing that that's what I was going through, was like, wow, like, yes, this is exactly what I feel like has been happening ever since I've been like transitioning into turning 23. This is exactly what I've been feeling. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I don't know, I just want to kind of dive more into that topic and what that's been looking like for me. So yeah, I've noticed this come up a lot recently, because I feel like I've been noticing myself come back to my old passions, or just realizing that a lot of my old passions have manifested into new ones, or just in different ways. And I just have like this urge to like just want to create and express myself and just do everything that I've always wanted to do. And I suddenly have this like newfound confidence in doing it. It's like that sense of freedom that I felt when I was younger, where I would just do those things just because. And it's fucked up, because somehow along the way I lost touch with her, with that younger version of myself, with my inner child, as I got older, and I realized I was rejecting her a lot. And I really think that's because like I let the outside world get into my head. And I don't know if you guys can relate to that too, but I can be honest that that's what I feel like happened. This year feels like the year where I really just want to tap back into that part of myself again. I feel like that's why I started making these videos, because down to my core, I'm a really talkative person. When I was a kid, all I did was talk. But the adults around me would always tell me that I talk too much. So I ended up growing up to be a little bit more introverted. Now I'm both. Like, I can be extroverted when I need to be. But at the end of the day, down to my core, I'm really a little bit more extroverted. Because me wanting to yap never left me. I've always wanted to make videos yapping. I love watching videos of other people yapping. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let me start a YouTube channel. And start fucking yapping. Like, I just want to stop being scared to put my personality out there. When I was younger, I didn't necessarily identify myself as a nerd, but now that I'm older, I can say that I was a nerd and I am a nerd, and I love that about myself. And I know the word nerd has like a lot of negative connotations to it, but I looked up the definition so we can like reframe our thinking about it, right? So I'm gonna read y'all the definition. A nerd is someone who's deeply enthusiastic and genuinely curious about specific interests, often intellectual, creative, or niche, and isn't afraid to dive all the way in, even if it's not what's considered cool. That's me as fuck. Like, I be so obsessed with like anything that is interesting to me. I want to dive deep in. I want to talk about it to anybody that will listen. I'm 100% a nerd, right? For example, reading and writing used to be like my favorite thing to do. I love stories, but somehow I let high school kind of make me uninterested in reading on my own free time, and somehow I just stopped writing altogether. But what I noticed is that passion actually never left me. It just ended up turning into me being obsessed with TV shows. I love a good TV show, okay? When I'm watching a show, it's literally my whole entire personality for that moment that I'm watching it. I want to talk about it to anybody that will let me talk about it. I'd be diving so deep into the backstory, everything that I can learn about that TV show. I want to know. And that was the way that I was with books. But anyways, I know that I was so far from that version of myself that used to love writing, because sometimes when I would be watching these TV shows, I would literally catch myself thinking shit like, wow, how are they writing this? Like, they are geniuses. I could never write this. I definitely thought shit like that before, when in reality, I did used to write. Like, I was writing shit like that. So why the fuck would I ever even think that? I actually used to want to be an author, and my goal, or like one of my dreams, was to be an author and write a book, and it end up turning into like a TV show or a movie or something, which I feel like still can happen, and I definitely do want that to be something that I do in my future. I was in all the creative writing classes, like those electives in high school and middle school. I'm pretty sure I was in a club or two for it. I just can't believe that I like lost that part of myself, you know? One night I scrolled all the way down to like when I first made my Google Docs account, and I found all the stories that I used to write. I found all the stories that I used to write on Wattpad too. And I was just like in awe because they were actually really good. Like the dialogue was definitely cringy because I was young, but the stories were good as fuck. Like they were good. I just still cannot believe I was telling myself in my mind, like, how are they writing this? Like, I could never write something like this. I could never think of all these details. But I can. Like, I literally can. And I did when I was like fucking like under 12 years old writing shit. Like, it's just, it's crazy how far away from her that I was. And it's also really crazy how things like come back full circle and they line up, because now since I'm in my last semester of college, I'm taking a screenwriting class from one of my electives. And it's crazy because I don't even think I would have even thought to take it if I didn't start going through this journey of wanting to reconnect back with my younger version of myself. It kind of makes me sad when I think about how subconsciously I did everything I could to run away from her. And I know it's part of growing up. I know we're just all trying to figure ourselves out. Like, that's the point of your early 20s, right? But I would say that I think that my younger version of myself, she would think that I'm pretty cool. But I do wonder if she would be nervous to talk to me, because even though I was more extroverted as a child, I still had some shyness to me. And like, I do remember always wanting to make friends, always being excited to make friends. And like anybody that was like older than me, especially like a girl or something like that, was always a little intimidating to me for some reason. I don't know why, but I do wonder if my younger self would have been nervous to talk to me like who I am right now. But I know she would think I was really cool. Like, why not? Why wouldn't she think that, you know? Last year, I did a inner child meditation one time. I was high as fuck off of edible too. I was going through it mentally, and I decided, okay, let me do an inner child meditation, right? Because I was already very emotional in that moment. I cried so much doing this meditation, but it was so healing. It was so healing. The meditation that I did is off of House of Vibrations YouTube channel. I already mentioned her before in my previous video. Love her down, but she has one. It's only like 10 minutes or something like that. I think she has one or two, but I did one of them, and it made me like physically hug myself during the meditation, but I was essentially hugging my inner child. And it was really emotional. It was really emotional because I felt like she really did need a hug. And I think that did wonders. I mean, wonders for my self-concept. It made me realize how much love I needed to show her, and again, how far away from myself that I was. Like, it's like, you know, sometimes when you go through it, you really just lose yourself for real. I felt like I was so lost from myself. I was so disconnected from myself. And doing that brought me back to my core, you know, like my roots. And I'm sitting here really wondering, like, why did I reject her for so long? Why did I feel like she was too weird? Why did I feel like she was annoying? Why did I try to change her so much? I think the answer to those questions is that I just let the outside world get into my head, and there was no way I could have really controlled that because I was young. Like, you're very impressionable when you're growing up. You're just trying to like get by for real. And looking back, I noticed that I went through so many different identities, and anything that hasn't lasted up until now clearly wasn't me. There's a lot that's constant, which now I know to lean more into now because I know that that's the real me. I really did everything I could to actually forget that she existed, which is crazy. I know we can collectively agree that the shit that we used to do or act like was, you know, cringy and embarrassing, but maybe we should try to shift the perspective a little bit to appreciating ourselves at those ages. Like that version of myself that was sticking her tongue out and posing like this with the Snapchat filter, with the dog filter on. She deserves to be loved. Like, even though you were looking a little crazy, she deserves to be loved. And at the end of the day, she was just doing what was normal at the time. And even if she was doing anything that wasn't normal, it was normal for her because it was natural to her. Like I mentioned earlier, I know we don't really want to admit it, but to an extent, we did let society shape us and kind of make us feel bad for who we truly were. And yeah, it was hard to not let that happen, because as humans, we really do naturally want to fit in. And that's cliche as fuck when you say it, but it really is the truth. Like, even in the adult world, we still have those like high school rules silently playing a role in our everyday, especially like in workplace environments. We still go through that shit, the hierarchies, the class status, popularity, all of these things. And social media just has magnified it even more. I do think Gen Z, like our generation, moves a little bit differently about it now. We are more open and accepting, no matter what type of person that you are, or what type of like aesthetic you like to fit into, or whatever. Like, I do see us just allowing ourselves to be in the spaces that fit for us, instead of trying to forcing ourselves in places that aren't for us, you know? And there's a whole other layer to this too. If you are a child of immigrants, if you can relate to this, let me know. My family, I grew up African, and my family is also Muslim, right? Yes, I was being called African booty scratcher, but that wasn't even part of it. But I grew up around Black Americans and Hispanics. Like, that's all I grew up around up until like 6th, 7th grade. And then I moved to Georgia, and then it was white people, and then a whole bunch of Mexicans, but it was just a lot of white people. Regardless, me being young, even though it was still kind of diverse where I was from, I still did feel different. Subconsciously, I do remember like rejecting my culture in a way and trying different identities that weren't actually me, until I grew up, where I started seeing other girls that were also like me, like, you know, African girls or whatever, around me more. To where, even though like, yes, I had family members that were like that, but for me, most of my family was not in America. And the only family, real like direct cousins that I had that were here, they were very Americanized as well. So I think I really wanted to fit in the American culture, if that makes sense. And it wasn't until I started seeing other girls that weren't necessarily fitting into the American culture necessarily, but you know, they were still loud and proud about the fact that they were African, and I saw them being all pretty and like, you know, all of these things. So it made me feel like, I was like, oh, okay, it's okay to be where I'm from. It's okay. Even to the point where like, so I'm Guinean, and that's in West Africa. And I notice I still do this now, but like, I still felt really, really different, because I felt like nobody knew the country Guinea, even though it's in West Africa. Everybody mainly knows Ghana and Nigeria, or even Senegal, but Ghana and Nigeria are the main ones. So I wouldn't even say I was from Guinea. I would just say West Africa. And then when people would ask me what country, I would say Guinea, and I was right. They didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But it was like I had some type of shame towards it, because I'm like, I'm from somewhere like nobody fucking knows type shit. Because even though there were a bunch of Hispanics that I grew up around, like people from Brazil, Colombia, Spain, like everything you can think of, bro, that was more accepted in America to me than being where I was from. That was just my thinking when I was really, really young. And then also being Muslim too made me feel really, really different, because I felt like everyone around me and the stuff that I would see on TV, people celebrating Christmas and all of these things, you guys are Christian or Catholic or whatever. I felt really, really different being the fact that my family was Muslim. And I also feel like that has a lot to do with how I feel about religion now and my association with it, but that's a whole different topic. I'm not necessarily a super religious person, but I do believe in God. There was even a time where I wanted to be white. Again, I was so young, y'all. I was really, really young, and it's so embarrassing when you think about it. Like, that shit ran really deep, because it had a lot to do with how I felt about my hair. So, quick story. I would put this like zip up jacket on top of my head, like the hood part, and like not put my arms through it and just let it like a fucking cape, right? I would put that on my head, and it was yellow, and I would walk around the house and pretend like I had long blonde hair. And it wasn't until That's crazy. It's actually really sad. When you really think about it, that's really, really sad, bro. It wasn't until I saw Zuri on Jesse. It was not until I saw Zuri on Jesse, I swear to God, that I changed my mind and was like, oh, this is pretty. Hair like this is pretty. That's why representation is really, really important. It even went further into like how I felt about my name, because I remember me and my brother, like, we had these neighbors that moved into us and like literally right next door, and you know, we all used to play outside and shit like that. But when they first moved in, they didn't even go to the same school that we did, but they moved right next to us. When they first moved, we told them that our names were not our actual names. I said that my name was Alex because I was obsessed with Selena Gomez from Wizards of Waverly Place. So I told them my name was Alex, and my brother said something else. But the fact that we felt like we had to change our names to be something more American, because, you know, going through people trying to say our names and not saying it correctly, or just feeling like our names were too different or anything like that. It's so sad when you really think about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe we actually did that. Eventually we told them what our names actually were, but like, it's the fact that we even felt the need to do that in the first place. Fast forward though, my name is fucking Aminata Diallo. Say it correctly. It's really not that hard. And actually, my last name is not even supposed to be pronounced Diallo. That's actually like the American way to say it. It's actually pronounced Jallo. I don't even say it that way, but I'm going to start saying it that way because it's Aminata Jallo. Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting also trying to figure out where you fit as a person, especially when you're someone that is a lot of different things. Like, I'm a complex person. I have a lot of different sides to me. I have a lot of different interests. I just had to get to a point where I accepted that I'm all of these things and I don't have to fit into one box. And then there's also acceptable aesthetics to present yourself as. Let's talk about it. I know that I am not the soft, clean girl aesthetic, and I don't want to be. I never was and I never will be. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck about that modesty shit, because, and it's okay if that's you, if that's naturally who you are, but I feel like that rhetoric being pushed out is always about it being about a man. Like, it is. Like, let's be fucking for real. A lot of the shit that they try to push out and tell women we should start being like, or we should start dressing like, or should start acting like, it's always tied to how they want men to start viewing us. But again, it's nothing wrong with being that if that's who you actually are, you know? I just figured out that I can make my own box. I find myself really liking the dark feminine vibes, but then I also really like the earthy goddess type vibes. So bitch, I made my own box and I'm blending the two. I really like the makeup that goes with that, the clothes that goes with that, with both, but I never find any pictures that show both. But in my mind, I feel like I'm both. Aesthetics is a visual thing. So as far as visually how I want to present myself to the world, that is the aesthetic that I feel like I fall into, and I made my own box. And you can too. And that's just me, like, accepting who I am and not feeling like I have to choose one thing to be. That's one of the things that were constant for me. Like, from a very young age, I knew that I was never the modest type of girl. I knew that. Not like hella young, but like teenage, you know, when you start going to puberty and you start feeling like, you know, like you look good, like, again, the titties and like all of that. I knew already. I like feeling sexy. I like looking like it. And I love seeing other women express that part of themselves. What Zendaya said on Euphoria? Maddie knew who she was from a very young age. Okay, I knew who I was from a very young age. I think it represents confidence to me when a woman is able to even show herself in that way boldly. Like, to me, personally, to me. And again, it has nothing to do with a man, because a lot of people will try to say that's what it has to do with. But I know it doesn't, because that is something, again, that has always been a constant thing for me since I was young. If it was about outside noise, then okay, we can argue that, but it never was about that, because I'm the last person that give a fuck about what a man is thinking. The last. My Venus sign is literally a Scorpio, and once I found that out, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense why this is the type of vibe that I like gravitate towards more. It makes so much sense. Like, I've been like this. This is me. Like, this is me. Like, I want to be sexy. Show the titties. Show a little ass. Show it. Why not? Like, show a little skin. Show that belly. Child, I can't wait for summer, y'all. Like, I can't wait for summer. Like, fuck the winter. We had enough, bro. I need that sun beaming. I need it now. Honestly, trying to figure out who you are in your 20s, like, you know, they always say that that's what this is about. Being in your early 20s is about figuring out who you are. But it's really actually not that hard, because all you have to do is just be who your inner child was, because your inner child was exactly who she was authentically. Like, she didn't have the outside noise, she was just there existing. I feel like that's like the most authentic version of yourself that you ever were in life, you know. And again, like I said earlier, things really do come back full circle. Like that post was really so fucking true in ways that I can't even explain. Well, I just explained it this entire video, but y'all know what I'm saying. My passion for storytelling, whether it's creating or consuming, like this YouTube thing, this is a version of that as well, you know. Girl talk videos on YouTube literally raised me, and I remember watching them all the time, and I used to think, wow, like I want to do this, and now I'm fucking doing it. I even thought about this while I was watching the Super Bowl yesterday. They have been playing that sport, I'm sure, since they were tiny tots, right? And then to see that they have grown up and are able to achieve all these amazing things and be, you know, make it to the fucking Super Bowl, because that's like the goal, right? And then win that shit is actually so heartwarming to see. And it's so cool because you had this like seed planted inside of you since a child, and you were actually able to see it come to fruition. That is amazing. And I feel like that is like nurturing your inner child. Seeing Bad Bunny like give the Grammy to his younger self during his performance, like that part was actually my favorite part of the performance. But again, nurturing your inner child, loving your inner child, hugging him or her, it's really, really important, because that's who you're really doing it for. If you really think about it, your inner child was the one that had these dreams in the first place. That was the most where we dreamt, where we used our imagination the most, where we just sat there and we just created and played and did all of those things because we were just there. I also really, really love when like people make posts about like the shit that we used to watch or like listen to when we were younger, like the old Disney Channel shows or Nickelodeon shows. Look, I was listening to the Lemonade Mouth soundtrack with my friends the other day. That won a Grammy in my household because they really ate like the Terminate. No, fuck the Terminate. Well, not fuck the Terminate, but She's So Gone. Like when I listen to that song now, it's so relatable. Like, she's so gone away like history. You know what? Irony, it really goes with the topic that we're talking about today, because it's really saying like the old version of me is gone. That is something I feel like I really relate to, because I feel like when I'm done with a person or a thing, I really do be done with that part of my life, and I just be moved the fuck on. So much so I block it out of my life. I actually pretend that shit never existed. Like I said earlier, I was pretending like the old version of myself never existed. And yes, that's important to do when you're trying to move on, because obviously that's natural. We're going to grow, we're going to evolve, we're going to become better. But at the same time, don't like block it out of your mind so much to where you look at that past version of yourself with so much negativity. And I feel like that is something that I was doing, but now I've like shifted it. Like I just accepted, okay, that was me once, it's not me anymore, but it's okay that that was me, because it had to be me for me to be who I am right now. I feel like this journey of like self-love won't actually progress unless you actually accept who you once were. It's gonna be hard and it's gonna be emotional. Like I said, I think you guys should do that meditation or just do any type of inner child meditation, because it really does help a lot. Fuck all the outside noise and the negative shit that was thrown at you from family members, adults, people at school that formed the insecurities that you have now. Fuck all that shit, okay? We were literally just existing, just happy, creating, playing, whatever, and then we grew up, and that shouldn't stop because we grew up. I'm really, really glad that I have gotten to a point where I've accepted all those parts of me, and I'm not afraid to show it anymore, to express it anymore. It's really done wonders to my self-concept. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, it really has. Even though there's still a lot more work to be done, it has gotten me so far in this journey. I really liked this topic today. I felt like this was a real diary entry, which is what I want these videos to feel like, and this is what I want my channel to be pretty much. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.